get into when you have cancer and you have to stop working, whether it's for a certain amount of time or, like in my case, I had to stop working altogether. So when I was first diagnosed, I had to take time off because I had the mastectomy done. And so that's like a 6-week recovery period. And then I think straight after that, I went into the reconstruction process. So throughout those first like 2 years, I had to stop working intermittently to address all of the surgeries that were needed. Just reheating some mashed potatoes from the other day. I needed something that was like not super heavy, so my husband kept it light and just did potatoes. But now that I feel better, I'm gonna add butter. So I had to stop working for a certain amount of time when I had the mastectomy and throughout those first few years. And then as time went on and things continued to evolve and change within my cancer diagnosis, I had to, do chemo, and then I did radiation, which totally burned my skin, and I had to take like major time off for that. And everybody's different, right? Depending on what you need and how much recovery time is required. And recently now what is happening, or what happened, is that I have stopped working. And the reason why I stopped working is because I am on lifelong chemo. And although that could be manageable for some people, for me, because of the type of medication that I'm on, and the frequency of my infusion, then is followed by like 3 or 4 days of recovery. And that's super hard to like hold a full-time job and recover from chemo every week when you have to go every week. So we made the decision a few years ago when I had to get on this regimen that my husband, who's a realtor, would be taking over our income, our expenses while I was on chemo, which then turned out to be indefinite. I am an RN. I've been an RN for 9 years, and the last job that I had was director of nursing at a psych facility, which was a great experience. I was definitely fortunate enough to meet the CEO of the company because he was my patient, and he was just like super impressed and happy with the care that he got while I was his nurse, and he was looking for a new assistant director of nursing. And he's like, "You would just be perfect. Can you please consider this?" I had never worked in psych before, but when I was on the cardiac unit for 4 years, you get a lot of psych patients because you just get a mix of everything. And so I had some experience, but it was definitely like a role that I stepped into, and it was a learning curve, but and I had to give that up, and that's hard, especially when you're like stepping up in your career. So everybody's different, but I had to pretty much stop cold in my tracks. And yeah, it's a huge lifestyle change that you have to accept and adjust to. So luckily I do have my husband who's able to pick up the slack, and I'm making a video. But yeah, it's super hard to have to leave your career behind when things like this happen. So if you do know somebody that's had to drastically change their working habits because of cancer, it would be nice to feel understood and heard. And so don't be scared to have those conversations, especially if they're family.